want these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most...
And this is Because Liberty with Curtis Hart.
And Chris Bornstead.
And we are live in the studios of the Business Forum show. We have Ivan. What's your last name?
Ivan.
Solkovics.
It's so awesome. Just like, it's like total, I should like see you on an episode of The Americans or something. Do you ever watch that show? It's fantastic. Just the name.
That'll be the Ivan we're talking about from now on when we say Ivan, unless further noted. So I won't have to even try to butcher the name anymore. Just say
Ivan. All right.
Yeah, so tonight we had a Liberty on the Rocks event over at Silver Star.
The second one. Another good turnout.
Is it the second? It's like the fourth. We just started inviting a lot of people on the Facebooks.
Yeah, on the Facebooks. I love it. I love it when people say on the internets and the Facebooks.
Well, I'm talking about like more than one.
Right? No.
Whatever.
Well, it was like our second real, where we advertised, that we were actually doing
like I made an event on Facebook.
Right.
On the
Last
Facebooks.
week it was like we're going to do it, and a whole bunch of people showed up, and then he actually created an event for it, and a whole bunch of people showed up. So apparently, people like Liberty on the Rocks. That's just where we get together and we hang out and we eat chicken wings or whatever. Next week we're going to go somewhere different. We're going to Tim's. Is that right?
Tim's Timber Tavern in Kelso. It's right down the street from the County Administration Building, where we will be having our weekly Libertarian Party meetings
at 5 o'clock till 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll do that from 5 to 6, and then we'll head down to Tim's.
Right. We'll just walk right across the street to Tim's
where they have an outdoor smoking area.
Right, that's the important thing, the outdoor smoking area.
It is, because smoking smells like freedom.
Smells like freedom.
It does.
Okay, all right. Except for they tell you where you can and can't smoke anymore.
What's that?
No, but come on in. I mean, we're having some fun. I mean...
So we have one of our listeners wanting to know about the state of the country before the Federal Reserve in 1913. And so that was basically when our monetary system got completely hijacked and started ending up with taxes and a bunch of theft on a national level, on a federal level.
Right. Things changed quite a bit after that.
They did. But apparently to some people that don't agree with the notion that taxation is theft, and when we say that, we're most likely usually talking about federal taxes, income tax, is that we had these things called roads and schools and bridges and a standing army before 1913, before we had the income tax. I'm just saying. And, kids back then, it was still 1913, so, the technology that they had was what they had, but they were still, I would say, more intelligent for the time. They could think more, and their schooling was more difficult back then for the knowledge that they had back then than what it is compared to today.
Dude, have you tried to do a Common Core problem? Math problem?
No.
Okay. These kids have a little tougher. Common Core is just crazy. But anyway, I would be interesting to see the education differences.
So check this out. Today during speech class, I listened to this speech about... For one thing, I heard this speech about toilet paper.
Oh, awesome.
About the proper direction toilet paper should go.
It goes on the outside.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
That's right. Now that we have that official, it goes on the outside, not on the inside.
Her main argument... Yes, that was her main argument, was the patent. It clearly shows it goes on the outside.
Yeah, there.
Anyways, I saw...
Ends that one.
Her does another speech about how important performing arts is in high school. And which I agree, performing arts in school is important.
That would be like the drama kids.
She was trying to make the argument that performing arts is more important than the STEM classes, which I can't remember. I don't have a kid in class right now, in public schools, but I can't remember exactly what STEM stands for. But it's for the smart things, science, science, technology, engineering. And math.
You better know it. You better know it.
Yeah. Okay, and she was saying that like drama was as important as science or technology or engineering or math. And I was just like, I agree with your argument here that it's all important, but it's couldn't possibly, like, acting's not as important as engineering. It's just not, because when shit hits the fan, like during any kind of possible apocalyptic situation or end time situation, or you might need to be using your prepper skills that you should be cultivating, no one's going to need an actor, really. We're going to need engineers and people that can do math and figure out science to get us back on our feet. We're not going to be really appreciating the money and time spent into drama. That was just my own personal observation. I didn't say anything, though. I was just like, yeah.
So that's the question they asked you. What happened in 1930?
Oh yeah, that was the tangent that came from the state of the country pre-1913. So now we got
pre-16th Amendment.
The Great Depression happened like within 20 years of our hijacking. Excellent point to point out.
Say that again.
The Great Depression happened about 20 years afterwards. And imagine that. They start stealing from us to pay off, central banks and devaluing our currency. And next thing you know, we're in a depression. It shouldn't be that hard to figure out. I don't understand why we're not using local currency. I haven't looked too much into this yet since that lady talked about it. I Googled it once for 5 minutes. And I was
the
like,
old lady talks to you about local currency.
She says the word local currency
she
once.
She done changed you forever.
I'm like, we need to look more into this to see
that
if
was funny,
if it's
dude.
all legal. And if it's not, if it's something that we can do anyways.
Oh, that was funny. That's the only thing you took out of that whole conversation.
The whole conversation with that
the whole
lady.
Half hour, and all you got was local currency.
I know, and she said it was the last 2 sentences she said.
Oh, man.
She was like, have you ever heard of local currency? I'm like, no.
But that's a good idea.
But I hate the Federal Reserve, so let's talk about this.
She told you that they made the press board.
Wait, no, you have issues going on.
Cooties. I had another one in the car, too. But no, she told us some story about how nobody had any money and her family came up with some idea of using press board as cash.
No, she basically said that her family came up with plywood.
Plywood, yeah.
Came up with plywood.
Yeah, that's basically what the claim was.
Up in Blaine, Washington.
Right. Which Curtis had just been to Blaine, Washington to go visit Donald Trump.
I didn't go to Blaine.
You didn't go to Blaine?
No, it was another town. It was near Blaine.
It was near Blaine.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was up in that area anyway. Should have seen her eyes when I said you were up there for the Trump rally. Thought she was going to lose it.
The Trump rally was something else.
Yeah. But wasn't that up there, though?
Yeah, it was way up there. It was next to Canada. There was a border crossing in the town that I was in.
Should have went across the border.
Why?
Why not? Canada's fun.
You can't carry a gun in Canada? You check your rights at the border. Why would I need to cross the border? This is the greatest country on the planet.
This is?
Yes.
Because you can carry your gun.
Fucking A straight.
I see your posts all the time that say that you
want.
feel safer with your gun on your hip.
Yes, absolutely.
Curtis is a pro-gun area.
Pro-gun area.
Pro-gun
type
area.
Guy.
Right.
Yes, I don't feel like going into places that don't welcome me in my right to protect myself however I see fit.
It just cracks me up. I'd be sitting there and I'll see all these big important posts, all these political posts, and all of a sudden you see Curtis Hart. I feel so safe with my gun.
Okay, well, here's one of those things that we saw was the big no sign at the Willow Grove park.
Yes, so I posted the sign to show that there's finally some movement at the county park, right? To show that there's progress going out there, and of course,
they had a movement.
Curtis had to pick it apart because they put no firearms.
It definitely looked like they had a movement.
And no fires. You can't
about
have any fires out there. Which I didn't think you could have fires before, but...
Oh, they were allowed.
Were they allowed before?
I don't
So
know
they
if you
took
could,
fires.
but they
I mean,
did. Now it says, don't.
They could say don't do it. I mean,
mean-
people are still going to have a fire out there no matter what you
The
know.
whole sign looks like it was created by the blue meanies from the movie Yellow Submarine. It was just no.
But the most thing that,
No horses,
that
no
really made them
ATVs,
unhappy
no
was the
driving
no
on the
firearm
beach.
part.
No fires, no drinking.
They should have
which
just
is
said no
everywhere,
fun.
but
I
it's
mean, they
ridiculous.
could have said no fun and
then it went
covered
ahead
it all.
And it said no firearms. And
But like I
I
said-
saw that, and like my eyes started
To-
twitching.
now-
I'm like,
now
what do
to
you mean no
give-
firearms? And like you pointed it out, no firearms. Like
Right.
it's a gun-free zone, and like according to the Washington State Constitution, that's not how this works.
All right.
That's not how any of this
The only
works.
thing I could come up with is, I attended a couple of the rulemaking things because they were open to the public, and they had a lot of the residents from Willow Grove out there that were involved with this, because they don't like a lot of traffic out there. So, there were a lot of those people, in the rules process.
They don't like a lot of traffic out of Willow Grove.
we don't want your 4-wheelers in our yards. We don't want there are some issues.
I could see
out
not
there,
wanting
and-
a four-wheeler in your
Right.
yard if it's not
so,
your yard.
they basically nobody else from the community showed up, so the people who show up at the meetings get to set the policy.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
how
way it goes
democracy
around
works.
here. So,
It's handy,
you know,
representative democracy. Anyway.
we cannot be happy with the
Representative
outcome of it, but we shouldn't be able to get to bitch too bad if we aren't there for the process. But again,
Horseshit. That's straight up horseshit because they take
I
an
said-
oath to.
no, I'm saying the people
uphold the
that don't show
Constitution.
up shouldn't be able to bitch a whole bunch. Like, okay,
They
not,
also-
not saying that you're wrong with what you said because
They also take the Pledge of Allegiance every
No.
time they open these meetings up. Okay?
these are the port commissioners.
When they say the Pledge of Allegiance, what's that? Liberty and justice for all? What's, liberty about saying you can't take your horse on land that you could, last week?
Could you take your horses on there before? I don't know.
I had a bunch of people
never-
saying yeah, we used to take our horses out there all the time. I had some people on the Facebooks
using the
I
park
don't wanna
lot,
step
it's
in
not
horse
like I
poop.
see horse poop out there a lot. So, I mean, you can't tell if people are using horses out there. At least I can't.
and anybody that's worried about stepping in the horse poop really should be watching where they're stepping anyways, because there could be, a roughin nail on the ground.
or broken glass. Broken
Or
glass out there
a
is
dirty
just
rig
crazy.
here in Cowlitz County.
Yeah, dirty rig. No.
But, the commissioner, Jeff, was it Wilson? Is
Yeah.
that his last name?
Port Commissioner Jeff
Port
Wilson.
Commissioner Jeff Wilson pointed out that I was correct, and so was Ivan, in pointing out that, that
It should read no discharge.
it should no discharging of your firearms. So you can't go with iron target shoe. I mean,
So there you go.
That's
Curtis cost
fairly reasonable.
the Port of Longview a whole bunch of money because now they have to change all
they're
the
gonna have
signs.
to change the sign, dude. and really, somebody should have caught that on its way out there.
They
'cause
just, listen, you got two port commissioners that, in my opinion, don't really look to want to be that involved with the park. And then you have Jeff Wilson who wants to turn that place into just a beautiful place for the citizens of our county.
at the very least, they all took an oath to protect the Constitution.
But they aren't thinking about that. They're port, most
should be,
the other two
at all
guys are
times.
port commissioners. They're thinking about port things. It's not, they aren't used to running a park. So, they're used to running a port. So this is new territory for them. So we kind of give them a little bit of a break. But we got people like Jeff Wilson on there to catch these things. And Jeff posted his picture of what happens.
They should have just put two rules up that said be responsible and be positive. That covers
yeah.
everything.
They're going to have a park host and all these kind of things out there.
They're going to expand the government to put a park host
I
out
don't think
there.
it's a paid position. So it's
That would
like
be
a
excellent if
volunteer.
it wasn't a paid
Right.
position.
No,
I mean,
I think it's volunteer. They get to stay at the park, in their trailer.
that's completely
blah.
reasonable.
It's not like they can issue tickets because I asked that question. First thing I asked is, do you guys have somebody out here that's going to enforce all these laws and issue tickets on this? Nope. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Perfect. In other words, it's the sheriff, and we can get out of here before he makes it out here. And that's only, they aren't busy. So there
So,
are
yeah,
some
the
good
whole
things that
sign-
came from the park.
What good thing came from that sign?
That finally somebody's going to spend some money at the park and try to make
The
it
county spending money at the park ain't a good thing because it's
No,
our
no,
money.
better. Yeah, well, the county isn't spending
the port,
shit.
whoever.
The county didn't want to deal with the parks, so they gave them away. It's plain and simple. So the port is stepping up, and they're going to turn it into a great park. So that I'm appreciative of.
It'd be a great park. Is a park that I could just let my dog run around and
Yeah,
not have
that
to
would
worry
be
about all
nice.
these leash laws. And
Yeah. Well, again,
because I mean,
that
if your
was-
dog ends up attacking somebody,
that was one of the rules.
that right there, that's a problem. And a leash ain't going to stop that if your dog's going to decide to attack somebody. And
Yeah.
people that know, like when their dog If you got an attacking type dog, you ain't taking your dog out to those places anyways.
Right. That was the policy change that I got done in the port plan, was that they wanted to require everybody's dogs to be licensed. And I pointed out, number one, you can't enforce that law. And number two, this is a county park. People in the county aren't required to license their dogs.
Yeah.
I said, you guys are getting people from out of our area that come here to use our docks. They aren't going to have their dogs licensed here either. It's